Okay.
I'm not the chairman.
No, you need to call your meeting, honey.
Oh,
That's what I just did.
that's what I just did.
I second it. Was that what you were waiting for?
What time?
I gotta get it.
I got 7:13. What time you guys got? Mine's fast.
Like this.
Let's see if my ink still works on
I
it.
got an extra pencil in the shop.
No, I just threw that together, Kelly. You know, as always. Give you some idea.
You're just watching, or you want to?
Looks good to me.
I'm at the Warrant Finance Committee meeting officially, but I wanted to take a quick moment to stop in with you when you have time for me.
You got
Of course we have time.
Yeah.
Yep, the beginning of this thing says something about selectmen, so.
It says introduction of guests. That must be it.
Yes.
Chairman's report.
Why don't you let us speak
Communications
now?
with selectmen.
Sure. You can come back again later too, whatever.
Actually, so I'm assuming the communication with us would be regarding the Lincoln Schoolhouse. My first is an apology, Hannah. I did not understand that you were not aware of the Lincoln Schoolhouse situation. I thought that
I don't understand why the wires were cut. Cut! That means it can't be just turned back on or reconnected. The wires have been cut. The wires are gonna have to be replaced from the pole all the way into the schoolhouse. No one can use the schoolhouse. That includes the Historical Society when they have their little one-room schoolhouse rendezvous visits. They aren't allowed to go in there. Because without electricity, if you're banning me from using it,
it's
it
been...
might as well be burnt down.
Hannah?
No, I'm not going to resist on this. I'm not going to budge. I'm not going to move a muscle because you people authorized them to put in a smart meter, a computerized unit into an old electrically wired building, okay? And while you're at it, you might as well condemn the church that's right down there across from the school because, oh my God, it doesn't have electricity either. So you might as well do that too. Get your little Kenny Paul to run down there and put a sign on it that says, oops, sorry, condemned. And you better put a poster that says condemned on the building at the Lincoln Schoolhouse, because if it doesn't say condemned on it, then anyone can go in there and use it, and the town will be liable, whether you have insurance on it or not.
Mr. Chair, as we discussed in our office, our insurance company insists that it is not covered by our town insurance in its current condition. And why we spoke to Bill about it as soon as we found out this report was wondering where the Conservation Committee would like to recommend that the town move forward. If you want to talk about putting it on a historical registry and looking for some funds to help repair the things that the insurance company is concerned with, or what other recommendations you may have.
Bill and I met with Kenny.
A lot of stuff doesn't need to be fixed.
Then that is something to be up for discussion as well. From our conversations with the insurance inspector as well as with Kenny, there were concerns about the wiring. The insurance company wanted power to be disrupted to that building pretty much immediately, and they did not want people in the building until these issues had been addressed. And we found that out, when did we meet with you, Bill? 2 months ago? Maybe?
So,
So that is what we have done, because what we are able to do is make decisions based on the best decision we can make based on the information we have. And I am not a building inspector. And
I can't have any more 4-H meetings because I refuse to have them in this town hall. The only reason I had the one with Heidi up here is because it was winter time and we couldn't meet in the schoolhouse. I will not have them at my home anymore. And that is a decision that I made with me and my husband. So, we are no longer having 4-H meetings, period. The next one's going to be at the school, if I I can still sell food down there. But 4-H is permanently abandoned because I can't have them at my home. I won't have them at my home. And so therefore, I'm in a situation where until I find another place that is acceptable to me, I cannot have 4-H meetings. Because that is the only place that I was going to be having them from spring until late fall. And this is all about, whatever the Conservation Committee decides to do. It isn't gonna matter what we decide to do, because what's gonna happen is, when it comes before the selectmen, they're gonna do the same bullshit they did with me just to get the floor repaired. They're gonna play their little games, because they always do, and we're gonna have to get 3 estimates, and then we're gonna have to present them, and Lord forbid, we're gonna have to go with the cheapest, which may not be the best one, or we're gonna end up not being able to get it done the way it needs to be done. I am extremely disillusioned with this town. I have been for a long, long time, and this is just one more little piece that's layered on top of the disillusionment.
Our board is hoping, from my understanding, to know what you would like us to do with the Lincoln Schoolhouse.
Mr. Chairman?
Burn it.
I talked to Ted Kryzak about this a few weeks ago, because I was just aware of it myself.
Ted Kryzak can't even take care of his veteran that's in his cemetery.
Excuse me, Hannah. He said that, at this point, that it was up to the Conservation Committee, that basically the building was given to us to do what we wish.
We have no power.
I did not understand where power was going to be cut, because he did not tell me that. He just said access would be only for conservation. To decide what we
Power
were
was cut before we.
It's cut, they cut the line.
I did not.
They didn't disconnect it, they cut the line. That means they cut the line.
I know that, but I wasn't told that part.
I mean, that's like going outside of your house and cutting the line that comes from the pole in.
I know what you're saying, yeah. Okay.
Now, they might have been off, they might have been able to pull the meter and just.
They could have just pulled the meter and called it good there, but they
Either
didn't.
way.
Exactly. They got in the
We're
meter,
not electricians
I know.
and somebody.
They got in the
took
meter.
liability of
Well,
the
then they
building.
got in somehow, because my understanding is there ain't that many keys out about, so how the heck they get in?
they've always been able to get into the schoolhouse.
Okay.
Because before the smart meter was in there, they had to go in and read the meter.
That's-
So they've always had access. So that's why I don't understand why they cut the line.
My understanding was not that they.
And it wasn't, I had somebody say, oh, are you sure it wasn't vandals? I said, vandals would not have known that there wasn't any electricity in that line going from the pole in. They wouldn't have known it. None of them would have known it. The only people that would have known it was the power company itself. It didn't take me but a second to figure that out. And they didn't do it because, oh, gee, we don't want to put power in this building anymore. They had to have authority from somebody else, and it sure as hell didn't come from this committee, because this committee has no power. We never have.
No, we don't.
No, we're an advisory.
We're an advisory.
We're an advisory committee, and there was a warrant many years ago. The building is recognized by the citizens of Acton as being property that belongs to the town.
Yep.
Doesn't belong to any subset of the town, it belongs to the town. And the fathers of the town, hence the selectmen, have the duty and responsibility to look after the property of the town. So it really isn't our choice, it's yours.
We're looking for your advice.
Larissa.
The advice is, whatever the building needs to stay safe is a reality. Yeah, it would have been nice if she'd known that the building was disconnected.
And that was,
That kind of thing is a common courtesy.
The common courtesy is the fact that there was a family in my club
No.
who were notified about the meeting, and they have parents who knew it was disconnected, and they couldn't even bother to contact me before I had a whole many kids there.
Hannah, I called immediately back. As soon as Sophia said, okay, the
I have caller ID, your number did not show up.
Yeah, I
And there was
called immediately
nothing on my answering
because the
machine.
phone was busy, Hannah. You must have been calling another
It
family.
automatically goes to my answering machine, even if I am on the
It was
phone.
busy. I called
Even if I am on the phone, it goes automatically to my
I
answering
called
machine.
twice. As soon as Sophia said Lincoln Schoolhouse, I said, Sophia! And she's like, Mama, she just hung up. And I took the phone immediately from her, and I called immediately. And the phone was busy, and I waited 5 minutes, and I called again. And it didn't come through, it was busy again, Hannah. And I said, okay, this is gonna make Hannah upset. I thought she already knew because of the Conservation Committee.
I have been upset with this town ever since you built that piece of shit up there in the hall, okay? A hall that was supposed to be made more accessible to the citizens of this town. And what have you done? You have made it so that using the kitchen is almost literally impossible. We have 2 refrigerators sitting out in the middle of the hall instead of in the kitchen where they belong.
Larissa, what is
I'm pissed at this town.
The historical part of it, we have been looking
No,
at it
look,
for a while.
the
got the
Main State
happy
Historical
application.
Society has got a...
Okay, when you wish to come back and let us know about that, I will be happy to do so.
When we know something,
But
we'll-
this does not feel productive,
It isn't good.
No.
so I will be back up at the Board of Finance meeting.
Well, that wasn't even on the agenda because...
No, but you let the selectmen speak, so.
That's all right. Well, there's nothing we can do about it until either Kenny gets back to us and says, what are they gonna do with the building?
We can't do anything until we get 3 bids on redoing the
That's a
electrical.
normal process, that's a legal process. Whenever you have a public building, you have to put it out to bid. I mean, either that or you're gonna have some sort of favoritism, you know, so.
There'll probably be favoritism anyways.
It doesn't matter, the bid has to go through, and, I thought, you know, you mentioned the sill or the floor, I thought that bidding process worked. We got our rights.
Well, the frustration of that for me was I was a one-person committee on that
Yeah.
at the beginning.
Yeah.
And I got told, you have to get a bid, so I got a bid.
Yeah.
And then I had to scramble because all of a sudden it was like, well, oh, what?
And then what?
Really?
And then we didn't have enough money
Yeah.
because I was supposed to have 3 bids. And I got that advice from who are illustrious select people. And, you know, it doesn't matter whether they're the same select people that are on now or they were the same select people that were on 10 years ago. They have their own little agenda, they do whatever they damn want, and they don't care what the townspeople in this town want.
Well, until the body of the town decides that that building is not property of the town, the body of the town has said they like the building. They want to keep it as
I know.
historical tradition. So, we just have to see what options there are relative to that so-called old wagon. So, as Kenny spoke to, nobody's...
No, I haven't talked to him since
The only
then.
person I've talked to is Ted, and that was a few weeks ago. He asked me if I had known about it, and I said, no, I didn't realize it. At that time, he said that it was given to the
Well-
conservation, and I said, okay. But I didn't realize that it had the wires gotten snipped until you said so tonight, so I'm sorry.
Oh, well, they were cut before we even went and looked.
Was it? I didn't know that. I had just found out myself 2 weeks ago, and I figured if anybody knew, she did know. She would.
Well,
I've been sick all winter.
Yeah, he's 2 or 3 of us.
It doesn't seem as though the power utilities would cut it on their own
No,
without
they
somebody
don't.
asking them to. And I'll leave it at that, but,
The biggest thing I probably was fire. At this point.
it's still in the selectmen's hands, you know.
I know, there's nothing we can do about it right now.
yeah, we certainly didn't decide to have a smart meter put.
No, that's for sure.
And as what was said, well, we're waiting for you to tell us what you want us to do. They didn't wait to tell us that they were gonna cut the wires. I still don't understand why they couldn't have just disconnected it, either on the pole end or the schoolhouse end. They just went over there and cut the friggin' wire. Is the wires going into the building bad too? What is the explanation for that? I know,
You would have thought they also would want to collect back their meter because
Well,
that's,
it is an unusual situation in the back of the meters to inside the building. You know, I'm not up on.
well, it's gutted.
You know.
They took all the guts out of it.
yeah, but still, you would have thought they would have taken their meter.
Okay.
Well, exactly, because I don't think, they're gonna have to remove the fuse box thing.
Well, I don't even know the legal status of a meter in that case, at least. I don't know. I mean,
Well, now that it's all marked, anybody can go in there and steal it.
I might not be allowed to
Yeah.
smart meters either, but I've got one on the house.
And that might be why they took the guts, so that nobody could get any of the copper and the metal.
Pay them to not put it on?
It was $25 not to pay them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told them to stick it, I didn't.
Yeah, I
I'm
understand.
paying the $12.
I understand that. And we're both in the same situation, we're way off the beaten path. But, I don't know how long you're gonna be able to continue to tell them it. I don't know.
It's
Well,
going
they've
before
been billing me, so-
before the state Supreme Court again,
Uh,
on the smart meter thing.
So, I really don't know on that.
Well,
But again, it's not for me to know on that issue. It's, you know, it's, the selectmen have other advisors relative to the safety of the electricity in the building. And, you know, I've said before, it is ultimately their responsibility in terms of public safety.
Why don't we review your minutes from March 8th at this point? Anything else good we should know about?
Only to follow through on that, which is that, as far as I understand, it's still there's a lot of crosstalk in the town about the value of these historic buildings, including that one. And,
The town of Acton has a history of not giving a damn about anything that has history to it. They talk a good talk, but they talk a good talk, but they do not try to walk the walk. They don't try to save anything. The silver mine that was the most accessible is now filled in with gravel and leveled off to the top because they harassed the landowner that had access to it, to the point where he filled it in. And so they could have had, instead of helping that landowner put a fence around it and secure it so nobody could fall down it, they harassed the shit out of him and they lost it. And it was the one that I mean, it's like the ones that are danger for people to fall down are the ones that nobody knows where the hell they are.
well, I know, but that's the status, whether it's a silver mine or some old dug well.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
you know, they're out there, and, you know, they.
Yeah, well, we found one last
It
year.
would be nice, yeah, it would be nice if they were, if we knew where they were, because they are dangerous, even though they are historic, you know, they're dangerous. Just like an old abandoned building might be dangerous, you know.
Well, they're more apt to go in there and set fire to it now than they ever were when it had power and I was able to use it. Because the buildings that get burnt down in this town are the buildings that sit empty.
Yeah.
Let's hope it doesn't happen.
I think there's a number of people that agree with that, including code enforcement. You know, I think they understand that.
So
Anyways.
what was the
And I
suggestion?
think that a lot of the problem is actually with the insurance company.
And they can put the money into
I'm
it.
sure that you know that
Why not?
there's no
I mean, it's
acting
an
wall now
asset of the
because
town.
they said that we
But what
couldn't
did
use that
Kevin
trailer
say?
anymore because it had no
Are you
lights.
wrong with it, or just?
Oh, I didn't know that. See, I didn't know that either. See, I didn't know that the dump-
He wasn't aware that they
No,
accounted for
he
it.
hasn't told me.
You know, we went out there and
that.
the other day, we
But,
were throwing away our
on the other hand,
refrigerator and
it's a-
Angela asked him when it was
it's a
gonna be
reason why-
open. And he said that that one was never gonna be open again.
Yeah, so
Because of that.
that's what my understanding
That's so
was from
stupid.
Ted, was that.
It kept all that stuff out of the friggin' waste stream.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's, yeah, that
I mean,
is,
God knows what else they decided had to be shut down to.
yeah.
I mean, I'm not even sure that, I mean, see, it's in a way probably, it's not even
Well,
really the selectmen's fault, it's the insurance company's fault, and nobody is willing to deal with those clowns.
Nobody has enough balls to stand up and say, you know what, you go right ahead, we'll run the dump without insurance then, won't we? Because that takes a lot of waste out of the waste stream. Do you know how much clothes weigh when they get dumped into that dumpster? They're heavy. Clothes are heavy. Cloth is a heavy item. And that's all gonna go to Merck now? Because people like to do the one-stop shop, and that's why Walmart is so damn, that's why it's so friggin' successful.
And that other dumpster, you wouldn't believe all the smashed china in it, because it's,
I didn't catch the.
Nobody can take it.
conversation. So
It
we're
was
talking
because they
about-
locked down,
Yeah.
there's no more you can't exchange your clothes and stuff over there anymore.
They don't have them all anymore, you know, the free cycle, it's called in most towns, it's called the free cycle.
Because somebody got hurt up there a while ago and said, oh, I knew that.
I didn't know why they was, it just was.
Because she
I
was coming
disappointed.
out of it
I was
and hit her
disappointed.
head.
Most of those things can be taken care of with a sign that says, enter at your own risk.
Exactly.
A lot of that stuff can be covered, at least it used to be. But I know, this is the new age and the new world, and insurance companies and garbage and politicians run the scene. I understand that. I do understand it.
That's
Well,
what
it's the
I-
kind of thing that could be revisited with thought, you know, because it basically is a good idea. Those towns that do have recycling centers.
I know Alfred has one in there.
Yeah.
It serves.
The free cycles are probably much more beneficial to towns than even the recycling, because it's see, everybody gets hung up on the third word in the triangle. They forget about reduce, reuse. Reduce, that means if you don't need it, don't buy it. If you don't have to throw it away, if you can wear it, wear it. And then reuse, you know, take the shirt and cut it into rags to use to wash your windows instead of going out there and buying paper towels. And instead, they only focus on recycle. Recycle. That's all they focus on. They don't focus on the other two in the triangle at all. And that's sad. It's really sad.
I'm not sure we're going to move in school, we might move on for a minute.
Yeah, it's not gonna change it.
No, we still have to talk about it.
I mean, we can. We're gonna have to get answers before we know what we have to look at to change. What do they want?
I think it's still Kenny's.
I know, that's what I said, we have to get something from him to find out what they want to change, to fix it, and make it more, so you can use it again.
Paperwork's been submitted to the historical, to put it on the historical
But
register.
there's no guarantee they'll accept it, because I submitted it.
And if they do, they won't have to get money for the roof.
What's that?
I said if they do take it, they'll get money for the roof.
Well, if other people can ask for $50,000, $60,000, and $80,000, why can't we?
We're not asking for it, it's not ours, it's the town's, as far as we're concerned. You know, our bylaws doesn't say we own anything that the town has, we don't, you know, it's just we have
Well,
advisory stuff.
I'm just saying, if other entities in town can ask for that amount of money, why can't we ask for that amount of money to use on the schoolhouse to get it fixed and up to the standards that the historical people
Always
might
take a
want?
petition.
Warren Finance upstairs right now here.
Yeah,
So the best thing I can tell you that we have in town is advisory to the selected too.
They're not ready to take an action on this right now.
No, but you know what I'm saying, it's the best thing I can offer.
I don't know, those are passed out at the last meeting, so I don't even know what they are, but I think they'll already done. But that's get Billy.
Oh, it's Marcel, not Michael.
Oh, thank you, all right, well, I never did correctly.
Hey, at least take up the Emery, you do better than I do.
Yeah. And then last week, which was really not me, but anyways. Well,
we were the only two here.
Yeah.
That was my fault, because I completely spaced out about it. I was planning on coming, and then I spaced out.
But it wasn't in the areas.
This is the one he's getting signatures for? Tom Cashin's climate change referendum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was one, yeah. Yeah, he came in and talked to us. Yeah. You get bored.
Well, I caught wind of it and had to change it, probably got a little bit touchy.
So other than ourselves, is anything else that has to be changed there?
No, it's,
I don't worry too much about the language, but I would like to get his name straight.
well, especially since I seem to be in regular communication with him now.
Oh, that's good. Well,
Yeah, I went up there to their meeting.
Okay,
I went up to, well, actually, it was a workshop for a land trust, but MECO was having their annual, meet, at the, this is in Thompson. And so I got elected to their board, which I'm not quite sure how that happened, since I'm not even sure we belong yet. But,
that's an issue for me too.
the president of it assured them that everybody, all the candidates met, you know,
Is that an alternate?
the requirements.
Is that an alternate full-time?
Oh, 4 times a year.
Well,
I gotta go.
But it's a regular full-time member.
Yeah.
I don't know how that board.
Right, they don't even have enough members. They have a 15-member board, and I guess I made 13.
Well, at least that's a decent board to work with. They might get back to a meeting.
You said they meet 4 times a year?
Yeah, they were nice people, but I was talking to him on the phone last night too, because he,
No, it's statewide. They always meet in Dawson.
no, usually Augusta.
Okay.
Yeah, the reason that the meeting was in Thompson is that Keith Fletcher works for the Maine Coast Heritage Trust at this point, and they're the ones that were sponsoring the land trust meeting.
Okay.
I couldn't believe it, you know, we hardly, it took us quite a while to find a place to park. I guess it's one of the biggest meetings for land trusts on the East Coast.
The coastal stuff is good, you know, it
Yeah.
always has been, you know, people are interested in, you know, if you like island living and you like that neck of the woods, and you want to get an investment, you know, usually you find ways to enjoy it, like allowing your own boats and things, so, you know, there's a lot there.
There's gonna be a meeting somewhere down here on June 20th with the 10 towns thing, and I can't remember the guy's name, but
You know, that is because,
no, this is, well, Marcel is running it somehow or other. Oh, in conjunction with Three Rivers and whatever the thing they're trying to.
the forestry project.
Forestry project that they're trying to put together. Somebody, I guess, is going to give a lecture on how they actually see this coming together, what land they would actually like to see preserved and conjoined and all that kind of stuff. I'm telling you partially because I'm not sure I'm going to be here on the 20th. And I can't tell you where it is because, I mean, I was all apologetic because I had a week to get back to him because I was trying to figure out whether I was going to be here or not. And then he told me that he didn't know where it was yet, so I guess it's going to be yet, so I don't know.
That's the 20th of May,
June.
of June.
I was gonna say, a lot of times I don't know.
Yeah. But I guess they probably I don't know. I guess that's that covers my communications with the outdoor world, outside world.
Okay. I don't have any preference. We can stay with the minutes. We can approve. I approve. the
Oh, yeah,
changes.
sorry, I just went into that because,
That's fine.
I mean, he was prominent in your reminder.
Yeah.
So what you guys actually decide as far as the posters went?
Well, that's why I said anything really clear for the state of the minutes or not. 'Cause
The poster, all I have to do is pick up the poster, we're supplying the poster this year, I haven't picked it up yet, I haven't had the extra cash.
Is that right, now, the 14 by
Huh?
20 14 by 22 is what I think she's told me.
14 by 22,
14 inches by 22.
yeah.
I might have some at the house that Amanda's picked me up from, where she work?
For how much money do you need?
It's at Family Dollar in Rochester is the cheapest that I can find, it's $50 a sheet. And then you cut the sheet in half, and
50
it
cents a
gives you,
50 cents.
yeah, 50 cents a sheet. And then you cut it in half, you get so it comes out to be 25 cents per poster board. Because you cut it in half, you get 2 posters. And I haven't had a chance to get over there for one, and when I've been over there, I haven't had the money for it, so it's like, but, because I wanna make sure that I have at least enough to buy, I wanna make sure that I have more than what gets picked up, and I wanna be able to leave it at the town hall, the library, and the school.
I talked to Linda, she says it's approximately around 220 kids. So.
Yeah,
I don't know, they all-
we did.
Do they all participate?
No, they don't all participate. I wanna leave, I probably leave the most at the school. But, last year we had, 40 entrants, mostly from 4th grade. And, so what I would like to do is at least leave 50 poster boards at the school and then 25 apiece at the library and the town hall. That's 100, that's 50. That's, it's not that much when you add it up at 50 cents and you get 2 posters, okay?
That's the
It's
idea.
not that much of money, it's just the fact that you have to have that cash on you in order to buy it.
Yeah.
And every time I've been in the Rochester area, I haven't had the cash to go there and buy it.
Well,
And
I did change the wording on those 2 themes a little bit, because you said you hadn't taken it into the school yet.
no, I haven't, because this would go in with it.
If we agree with what's in your hands, it's the only copy I got, I mean, basically, this does the same thing.
Okay,
except I didn't have the size
I will
down.
give it back to you
And-
then.
and that- No, I don't care if you just finish it off and copy it, we need to get it done.
Okay, so she did the poster size, which you guys said
Yeah, I just
14 by
did,
20.
she's got it on her
Okay.
list.
Yeah, it's right here
Well,
on
you
this
can
one.
also add it to this one.
Yeah, that's right, go ahead, but I don't know who they're turning into or what, or any of that stuff, so, I mean, we did that last year, we gave them that sheet to the school,
Yes.
so.
Yeah, well, I took it in, they put it on the back of a flyer.
Okay, so if that works for you, let Bill look at it close.
Now, are
If
you,
that works for you, I just,
are you gonna look for just one color, like white or vanilla? Or
Yeah, just one color, white. I will go with white or.
Because I have
or-
vanilla at home, that's why I was asking.
Well, I'm not gonna go, but that's the other thing. If I go in there and they only have 5 sheets of white, I'm gonna buy whatever colors they got.
Well, that's
So
what
it
I'm
doesn't
asking.
matter, I guess, it doesn't really matter, but it would be nice to have it pretty much a neutral color. So I'll try to go with, I'm not gonna get neon pink if I can avoid it.
Well, how much of a hot thing is it on the
Everything
wall?
else is pink too.
Pink and yellow. Maybe a little bit of green.
well, I think we've got a next up there, we've got to do this, because you got the prizes and everything.
I've got all the prizes in
I think
the
Next year.
I think we've
All
got
the
to.
prizes I've been bought, I've even got the
You did,
names to
brother.
go on for
right.
nameplates and stuff, so I've
Yeah.
already got those and everything, so,
If you just want to fill in the name of where they have to, the blanks, that might work. If you need a copy of it, copy. But I don't see
well,
any reason-
that's the other thing, how many weeks do we need to allow them to work on it, 2? So we need to,
There's a date down the bottom, they got to be, well,
When you put one up here, it says return by.
yeah, so. I didn't know if you want to talk to the teacher.
Yeah, because a
You
lot
had
of it's getting.
something more to, so I left it blank.
okay.
I opted to give you the opportunity.
Actually, it would be nice if they could be done by Memorial, when we hang them up around town, if we wanted to do that.
Well, we tried to display them.
At the town meeting was where you.
Yeah, we displayed them at the town
Because
meeting.
town meeting's like, what, the week after?
9th, is it the
8th or
9th?
9th, something like
8th is a
that.
Friday, so it'd have to be the 9th.
So, we could do something like before.
We could opt for June 1st, that's what I was thinking. Because,
So you still writing the column for the paper?
no, I'm not.
Okay.
Well, he's already got paid.
That was one
He
thing,
already got
that in the
paid.
paper last
We're trying to
year.
avoid the,
And Mary Waterhouse put it in there, that's why.
Oh, I see, no, I don't know who's doing it.
I don't know, I haven't seen anything.
Nothing from that, on it? Okay.
In the Observer? No, nothing's good, nothing from Athens, but every once in a while, there's something in there, I don't know even who's writing for
She
it.
was at one time, Mary Waterhouse at one time, and Jim was, and then it's gone from there.
It's mostly Lebanon.
Yep.
It's mostly all Lebanon. And it gets delivered to everybody's box in Lebanon too, so. It's a very,
So you're gonna have them return it all back to the school, or where they got it from?
Lorraine still does the.
yeah, she still does the same
So,
news.
I'm not lying with that last statement.
We could have them return to the, we could have them return to where they picked their poster board up at.
That might be your best bet.
And then I will pick them up from there.
Either that or
The
you-
judges, we have not decided on who will be the judges.
Either that, or you can list the three places, the school, the town hall, and the library. That way they have choice of those three places for one of
No,
them.
then they have to be willing to accept it.
I'm sure
Yeah.
Mary isn't gonna say
The
much.
the school probably will. The school probably will. And I don't think the town hall can really say they can.
That's why the only thing is about the town hall, they locked down for most supposed to give you. That's why I said maybe Mary's would be easy, at least she'd call one of us and let's get it delivered. Nothing else.
Who's?
Mary, public library.
You mean the library? Yeah.
That way they have choice, they can either drop it back at the school or library.
The less I have to do with her, the better I am too, at this point in time. But I was going to ask wherever they could pick up the poster boards at, they could deliver them back. I have to already ask them whether or not we can have them pick up the poster boards there anyway. So if the library doesn't agree to that, then it's not going to be an issue anyway. But she didn't have any problem last year, even displaying them through the summer.
I don't think she does.
So,
It's just the idea of timeline for picking them up, you wanna make sure that either way they can get to them, that's why I said list both places or one place that they.
well, I haven't even picked out judges yet. We haven't even discussed that. I threw out a suggestion to you, right, Wes, but that's about as far as I got with that. So,
How did you pick your
Well,
ones last time?
maybe we could get somebody
We pick
from,
people that were painters.
maybe we could get somebody from Mika, no, they wouldn't know what to look for really, would they?
Not unless you gave them this.
You know,
Go by.
years and years ago, like the Town Library Association had poetry contests. I think the association did. So worst comes to worst, we can judge them, but
Well, they don't have to, we could,
we can judge them
Yeah.
unless you're going on with that. I mean, worst comes to worst, we can judge.
yeah.
You know, in the long run, it might be better off, you know, if we did it as long as their names and stuff are over there, and we don't want
That was a point that I didn't stress, and I thought.
Because
sure.
it's actually-
Some of the
We need
people,
to
some of
have
the
them.
kids' names were
Yeah.
on the front.
You need to stress that they're on the back side, that way none of us know about
Do
it.
you want to put that on here, that their name, you could put it in bold?
Like
Even
on that fifth
names
one?
must be
Don't-
on.
I don't mind making another copy of this, as long as I don't have to.
When it says don't fold, but names must be on the back, would that work? Names in grade, you know, you guys did grade last time, no?
Put names, yeah, you should, they have to have a name too, otherwise we can't award them any prizes.
Yeah, but it must be put on the back.
Last year I had to do the thing of elimination.
All right, so we got, okay, we can go down through this, we got to put name and grade on the back. We got the size, which is 14 by 22.
Yeah.
We don't know who, you know.
Do you want to shop or you want one of mine? You have a choice.
We can't really, I don't know who contact point at the school is, so I can't go in. As far as the date, I don't, it's the 20th now.
It's the 15th.
If this gets back to the school in a couple of days, then
I can try to get it to go, the papers to go out
They
Friday.
mail-
They usually send things home on Fridays. So I can try to get it down there and get it done by Friday, sent home by Friday.
and you'd want it back in another Friday, give them a solid week, or does that make sense?
No.
June 1st.
That's why I said, if you give them up
If
to
you-
Memorial,
If you, well, that is another week.
Yeah, I-
Is it-
This Saturday is the 19th, next Saturday is the 25th.
well, that's 2 weeks.
So, and, yeah, that's 2 weeks, that's a solid 2 weeks. But I have flags to put out, and I won't have the flags until, next week.
What time? I'm just-
I don't know, I have to wait for him to call me, and I have to go to Waterboro, pick them up, he will not deliver them anymore.
Really?
Yeah. So,
Yeah, it's a hard month, I'm not a good figures, too.
every weekend, and this is what I did tell my 4-H club members, I told them, you will not be able to go and put out flags with me because I have no weekends. The only Saturday I had was the 12th, which was, as I told them, which is tomorrow, and I don't have the flags. So, you will not be able to go out and put them out with me because I have to do it during the week. And, because I have to move Jed home Memorial Weekend. So, and I have my open hive on Saturday. And I have to go do that to finish out my class.
So judging will be done the first week of June sometime?
Yes.
Just the first week of June?
The first is on a Friday,
Okay.
so we could have it. I would really like it to go out past Memorial Day, just because of the fact that I don't know whether I'm going to be in Cambridge on Friday, or if it's gonna be on Saturday that I'm not there. I don't know what, I suspect it's gonna be Saturday, but I don't know.
Okay, so we want to pick these up, instead of May, it's going to be in June sometime? Or,
I would rather pick them up on June 1st.
You know, anybody got an idea what day of the week that's?
no, I don't.
It's a Friday.
Oh, okay, well, that works.
It's the Sanford graduation's Friday night.
I didn't print one up, and that's it.
I'm right on the ball with this month because of,
You can't do just straight in Cambridge. You can't.
he has to be moved out by noon on the 25th. And then he can't move into his summer residence until the 30th.
Do we want to say posters, the paper will be supplied?
Yes. Poster boards will be supplied. I'll try to take the poster boards in the same day that I send it home. I'll try to get them before this Friday.
How much money do you need?
I don't know. I have to.
I thought you figured it out.
No, I didn't, I
I really
know, I
think
need
I'm
100,
not
I need 50,
pressuring
I need
anybody.
50 full-size
That's
sheets,
why.
and then I have to cut them in
Needs to
half.
get done.
So you need 50 times 50, that's what, 25 bucks?
I don't have the figure.
Yeah, it's a normal size. The size, I got the size from the 4-H, what they require for their poster boards for the fairs. And it is exactly half a sheet of poster board that you buy in the, like your grocery stores or wherever you buy them. It's that size.
So you think a teacher at the school will allow them to be dropped out?
I think they'll be able to drop them in the office. I will talk with Linda.
So that's school office? Right.
Yeah.
All right, I'll put down school office.
That's where they were dropped last year.
Okay.
I did take the liberty this year to make sure I talked with the art teacher because she was offended last year. And she was.
That's a learning curve. That's
It was a
good.
learning curve, and she just basically told me she
Yeah.
wanted nothing to do with anything that had to do with being a contest. So that was, So, but she was spoken to. She was spoken to.
Well,
I told her that the poster boards were going to be supplied this year and that they were going to be half the size of what they were last year. So,
maybe the word contest is strong.
How are we gonna be?
only if everybody,
No, I
it's sort
think,
of like what I told, it's sort of like
I think
what,
that philosophically she feels that art isn't a contest,
It's, everybody's up.
everybody is
Artists-
their own,
Everybody's up.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
You
I
can't
never gave
compare
it a
one.
thought, but maybe contest is a strong word.
But you know what?
well, no, but you know, poster contest
Contest is a
is a
contest.
phrase in the language. you know.
Oh.
in the long-term scheme of things,
Repeat that.
in the long-term scheme of things, as my 5-year-old son said when he was playing rec basketball, we lost, we got beat. And I said, we don't keep score. And he looked at me and he said, it still doesn't change the fact that somebody won and somebody lost.
No, but-
So my 5-year-old son got it, he got it.
I heard a little ticket on the way down. You know, all the NFL football, we have the company.
Well, that doesn't surprise me.
It happened since 1955.
Yeah, you heard that.
It's amazing, isn't it? So what is our next, so are we done with the
Unfortunately, somebody else
poster
probably heard that too and decided we need competition.
thing? We gotta be able to move on from the poster thing.
Not quite.
Do you need this back?
He's actually got a copy, Ken.
The only thing I need to reiterate is it needs to really get done. You know, as early as possible. You know, if you can get it to the school before Friday, that would be great. If not, it is pushing.
I haven't had a lot of luck with the school this year, so please pray for me on this.
I understand. And in fact, the judging will be done the first week of June, and just not will be done
Yes.
on, but will be done.
First week of June. We could even put that we'll announce the winners at town meeting. No?
I'm not sure.
Good. As long as you
I'm
work
not
it
sure
out.
I'm gonna be around or coming or not. My schedule is really weird.
Yeah, mine is too.
I'm hoping David,
So-
any guarantees.
Well, you can announce it
Under
to
the
the
current, under the current circumstances, I hope that somebody like you will be there, because I'm not gonna get up and talk about the Conservation Committee at the mic.
Fine.
Unanimous vote on that?
What do we have to talk about?
As a matter of fact, if you see me walking that way on a conservation issue, you might want to stand up and say, Hannah, I got this.
I thought in terms of the prizes, the selectmen's meeting was last year.
Okay, and that's fine. We can do
It was
that.
nice and easy.
Are they
It
having
won't
one?
take- It won't take time away from the
Yeah,
town meeting,
okay.
which is, that, you know.
But you can have a list of who won,
But-
want there before each.
And they do meet twice a week, so, you know, if we get it done first of the week or in June, we might be able to get it done. Maybe able to make the announcement that same
Okay.
week.
It would be nice to be able to hang them at town.
And that's why I go back to the last thing, which is judges. Do we do it ourselves, or do we think we can?
I think that would be the most expedient thing first.
Or we can find some people.
Yeah,
If
but
you think
finding
you
it
can do
might
it,
be-
fine. You know?
No, I mean, maybe I can get Linda to do it,
Okay.
you know, his girlfriend or whatever. I mean, she can be a judge, or whatever, maybe we
I
can.
don't think it needs.
We could have Richard Neal do it again. He could be on it again.
Yeah, just have to ask.
And we could have a member who isn't involved directly in the contest be a judge, like Frank, if he's around.
Yeah, because kind of hard for us to do it sometimes.
Do you think you can tackle that?
You think you could handle those three people and asking them?
Oh,
He says, what are you talking about? Wait a minute.
well, I volunteered one,
Did you ask, Mr. Chair, would you please ask Linda, whoever her last name is?
Tell them they have to judge
Mr.
them.
Neal?
Tell them they have to judge them on
They would
Monday
like to
before.
judge them for us, what day? The 4th?
be available the 4th of June.
Yeah, and if not, please let us know, so somebody can either A, fill in, or B, find a replacement.
That was the criteria that we used last year, if you want to hand that to somebody. I mean, it's a little bit of thought, and I think we agree with that, we weren't party to that, so if you want to
No,
look at
because
it
I
close,
was,
you can.
I'm like, yeah,
On
we
the
take
criteria, I know I'm being a real brat, because probably the best poster will actually be the one that doesn't put their name on it, but I think if that should be on there, that if they don't have a name, that they should not be in the running, because that,
Please
We-
make
we
sure
can't-
when it comes
we
out.
I
can't
don't know, maybe I'm being too picky, maybe I'm being too
I know,
picky.
it's,
The only
Makes a
thing is,
good
the
poster,
kids,
your name is on it.
the only thing is, the kids know who they are right off the bat. I don't care what kid it is, I don't really know if Joey did it, or Skippy
Well,
did it,
then I'm
or.
probably being too picky.
I mean,
no, I debated something very similar to that last year, which was originality.
Hey, Tom,
Well, I'm sorry, I still fight. I fight with all my kids. I fought with the
I
last two
still
coming
have.
up through to put their full name on their paper. When I was in first grade, we didn't have kindergarten, I had to put my full name. I didn't have to put my middle initial, but I had to put first and last name on my paper. And they only put their first name,
All right,
and it drives me crazy.
so,
I wouldn't get away with that, I'd just do it backwards.
okay, now that we beat that to death.
Now, what about, do we have?
Last name first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we gotta,
Do we have-
we gotta beat the minutes to
Oh,
death.
come on.
Can we approve those two?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes.
I second it. I wasn't here, I don't know.
With the
changes.
corrections, with changes.
With the correction of Marcel for Michael.
You made the motion?
Yes, I did, she seconded, all in favor, I guess, it's Mr. Chair's job.
Yeah.
All in favor, Mr. Chair?
All right, well, let's go.
And so is it opposed, Mr. Chair?
Assistant chair says it's unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you, I know that as well.
Okay,
That's
whatever.
okay.
You're not used to this.
I don't even think about it that way, I think of it like everybody is.
I know, I do.
Because everybody is
the
equal
other
on the
one,
committee, it's just that I get stuck with dealing with the,
I do the same thing the other one were about, I do the same thing, I forget. Do we have a treasurer's report? Oh, no, Heather.
I don't know what the treasurer's report is.
I thought I'd asked.
I ordered new grocery flags and 6 holders, and they're probably not the right ones, because I see that's on here somewhere. Or it was in here somewhere, that they don't like the ones we're
They
getting.
don't like anything you get, so what the hell
Well,
is the
No,
difference?
I had to fill it out, and then I just.
We get the metal ones,
For our sake,
they
you know,
feed
we're gonna do
them.
it,
We get
we're
the
gonna do it.
plastic, they break. So nobody should be happy, so what the hell makes the difference?
No, she's gonna do what she's been doing.
The last
That's
time
not
I was
the
up
point.
here at I came up to pay my taxes,
That's not
and
the
I've been
point.
dealing with a gate issue on a road and other things, so I completely forgot about asking how much money we have in our treasury. So I don't have a treasurer's report,
At least
so I
it's a
apologize for
report.
that. So,
Okay, so,
Any other communications that we know of?
well, he addressed that already, didn't he?
No, that was the visitors.
we'll come back to that in a minute too. But,
How about old business? We just
Well,
did the
we just did
contest,
the-
we just did Nika, and what about
no, we
Hill
didn't do,
Cemetery?
you know.
Joining me, do we have to pay 150 or just 50?
I asked for $150 if we got it.
Oh, through
I mean,
the,
assuming that it passes a town meeting.
okay, so it has been asked for then.
We just need to do it.
We just need to do it, we just have to, oh, the guy that used to be in charge of that, not Keith Fletcher, the other guy, I don't know what his, can't remember his name was.
Yeah,
Well, anyways, he asked about you when I was.
Shafto,
Yeah.
Shafto,
Mhm.
yeah.
I don't know.
I thought the town
I
paid
don't
that
know.
last year, right?
Oh, I guess the
Did you-
judges-
The town accepted.
Oh, okay.
accepted it.
Anyway, he asked about it, so I assumed that you had paid him something.
I didn't pay him anything, the
No.
town sent it,
You
as
will,
far as I
I'll
know.
say, you'll know best come June 8th whether it's been accepted or not. That $150 unless they just forgot to check off and seal it away.
Okay, so is that, we are going to join, correct?
I'm
Correct.
missing, I'm missing something. Has something been initiated with the select people to write a check?
No.
Well, I
no.
asked, when I had to submit a budget, I asked for money for that.
Somebody has to fill the application out for me.
Well, I believe that got mailed.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe I got a check and it got mailed, but I don't remember if I mailed it or somebody else did.
I saw it.
I'm innocent from that.
I saw
I'm
it.
sorry.
So,
But my.
That was like a whole year ago, wasn't it?
It was supposed to be, but I have no idea.
I'm not gonna worry about it, I mean, I'll just write them a check at some meeting if I have
The big for the month
to,
end?
and then, yeah.
Not easy, be careful of that. Remember,
We got-
there were a few issues that come forth. I think it's 2020, they tell me. No,
I believe that the paperwork was filled out,
The paperwork was done.
and I brought it up here to the town hall, I got the check, and the town hall actually mailed it, because it didn't toss, because they can do the postage.
all right.
That's how I believe I did it.
Okay, and that would explain how it is that I actually belong, even though I wasn't sure we'd ever sent it.
I'm out of the loop, I should be.
I bet we're all out of it.
That's okay.
Hey, we all
I've
intend to
been
be a
in-
little loopy.
I see you were last time.
Isn't that one of the Grange
And then
meetings
they-
questions, have all the fees and things been paid to the state and to Pomona? Isn't that one of the things they ask at every Grange meeting?
Yes.
Are all our dues paid to Pomona and state?
Well, it's a fair question, because, you
Yeah.
know, you have to pay it, then you have to acknowledge the receipt thereof.
Right.
You know.
Now that
That's-
AKA we're supposedly members of this, what
And,
does that
and those are
entitle?
dues, but
What's that entitled?
does that mean?
Oh,
dues are
well, we
yearly?
get the information, like,
Evidently, this is yearly dues, yeah. I don't.
That's
It's
yearly?
150.
Well, that's the point,
Mhm.
is that that's a yearly due,
Holy my goodness.
so.
So last year's was paid, this year's coming up?
I
She
agree.
said that, so we're gonna see on the 8th, I
That's
guess,
what
when it comes to town meeting,
Mhm.
okay?
Well, I believe we were $50 short last year, too.
Yeah, but I
Because we
talked,
asked for 100, and the dues had gone up to
but I had talked to
150.
Keith Fletcher, and he said, don't worry about it, just send it.
Yeah.
And so I assume that the town gets to receive immediately. You know, they don't give us, they don't give you as treasurer.
I did not get no, I don't get anything. I have to come up and ask for everything, because
Funny
I'm,
way to run a world.
You would think they keep it in the
Don't
law, so
say it,
it's
so
gonna be
it's a
other way.
funny way to run a world.
Well, that's why, when I was there, I used to be up them all the time, I need to know what's there.
I'm not
and
gonna
receipt.
do that. I'm not
Just
gonna run
because
out
we
here and
didn't
do
know
that.
what was going on.
I shouldn't have to.
Wow.
Okay.
It should, anything that concerns the conservation committee, copies should be made and put in Bill's box.
I
Even if
agree.
it's for the treasurer of this committee,
I
it should
agree.
go.
That's what the box is up there for, that's what I fought to put the box up there for.
The
I've never
chairman,
found anything in a box.
the chairman of
So-
any committee, you're gonna tell me that the finance committee comes up here and harasses the selectmen for the things it needs? I don't believe so. If they do, they're ignorant. They can just look at the selectmen and say, look, you say you're having trouble getting somebody to sit on this board or be on this committee, well, maybe it's because you treat us all like we're two-penny slugs and have no, respect works both ways.
I know, been there, done that.
Yeah, it works both ways, and I don't have to prove myself to these people.
So we all set with Mika?
Yeah, I
Yes?
think so.
We all set
If
with
we're not, they'll
Well, there was
tell
no
me.
motion, it has to be taken, we took the
Motion.
We took the motion last meeting.
Yeah,
You couldn't do it, the two of you passed it, good deal.
No, I think.
We passed
I know we
it
took-
2 meetings
we-
ago before that, because I was here
Yeah,
for
that's
one
what
of
I said,
them.
we took it, we.
3 meetings ago,
okay, so
While Mika was here.
yeah.
there's no action that needs to be taken on that?
No, we approved that.
Okay.
Now, the Gilman Cemetery, I just wanted an update, or we wanted.
Okay, the update is, Mervyn did go up and cut trees last fall,
But not enough.
but not enough. And that was my fault because I did not think I needed to micromanage Mervyn.
Oh, yes,
But
you do.
evidently I did.
You sure
And he would not put any of the brush outside the cemetery. I, on the other hand, had no problem doing that. And we cleaned a lot of that brush out, but there's still a big pile in the cemetery. I did not put it on the landowner
Okay.
who owns around the cemetery. I put it on the side of the road. I took it across the road and piled it where they took the towers out. They put these big cement things in there, and I piled it right in front of those cement things. It was like a sort of like a roadway in, but then it was blocked by those cement things. I got a huge pile of brush there. It does need to be moved. And there's still a pile in the cemetery, but it was on the back wall, and we were very tired. So we decided that we were gonna stop moving brush and just start picking up trash. And and that was when it was like, oh my goodness, these trees are already dying, they needed to be cut, and they're still standing here. And so there's a lot of trees that still need to be cut before we can get any stones repaired. And I saw in the talk about the Smart Shopper, way down in Sanford with 324 numbers looking for firewood. And he's looking for free firewood, he'll cut it himself. But I didn't know if I should call the number because I might get some weirdo who doesn't even know how to cut down a tree.
I'd be leery of too unsolicited, that kind of a thing, you know, because there's a semi-public trust here with these cemeteries. I mean, we have oversight of them, but they still belong to them in part, to the families who are dedicated to them, who are in there.
Yeah.
So it's a tough one, you know. I can't just I hear what you're going to say. I see you. I won't say you're smoking, but
Well, I talked with Bill and about having Gavin do it.
I don't think you can just let anybody walk into
Yeah.
a cemetery and cut trees.
Well, I talked with Bill about having Gavin do it. He wanted me to mark the trees. I haven't been able to get up there to mark them, so I can't find my tape.
I can't
was
say
gonna
that.
put the orange tape
I still
around.
got pieces in Ralph Farms. We still got to fill that stuff, the rest of that up. It needs to be split. There's still pretty big spots that need to be split up.
Because, so that's something that has to be done.
Oh, come on.
I did,
No,
because of the
are you gonna worry about it? I'm not.
No,
The
but
gate situation, because of the gate situation, I did have the opportunity to talk to Ronald Hutchins. Ronald Hutchins is in charge of Darrell Hutchins' estate. He is the executor. And he does own the land. The Hutchinses still do own the land around the Nason Cemetery that's out in the middle of the field. And I asked him about cutting down the trees, and he said, wait till after we've hayed, and all brush has to be cleaned up. Can't be left in the field, nothing can be left in the field, but he has no problem with us getting the trees cut. And I told him that he is not interested in cutting the trees.
Speaking of the Gilman Cemetery, there is another flat buried stone there for Dudley and the other one. His wife is there, but there is a buried.
I figured there was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I did find that.
yeah.
And I broke a flag while doing it.
I hope it was the old flag I'm gonna be replacing.
You just had to read it. No, there is a nice piece of green schist under there for Dudley, and I don't, he's not any.
And I went and researched, I know this is not this communication business. I went and researched the cemetery next to the house across the street. They are not buried in Milton Mills, because I looked high and low, I asked questions in the whole 9 yards. They're still over there. And second of all, they're 10 to 1, I went and did some more research, Wes can either verify this.
There is a Benjamin.
There is a Benjamin
In
there,
Milton Mills.
there is one, but there's two. There's a son and a,
All right.
him and his wife would be.
There might be 5 or 6 that could be taller than Zebulons up the street.
Benjamin and his wife are his second wife are across the street from me. She was a living. And then his daughter married Nathan Morrill. Morrill is the vet that's over there. His wife is buried there, Sally. So that's why I used to go in there periodically. Because I remember as a kid, you probably weren't around. You might have been That's the only I know about it.
He's a vet of the Civil War, or
I'm going to say 1812.
1812?
Yes.
Makes more sense.
Because I went to Shapley and
What's
looked up these
his name
records.
again?
Nathan or Nathaniel. They go by either one. Depends which record you're looking at.
Nathaniel?
Merrill. M-E-R-I-L-L.
M-E-R-R-I-L-L.
R-I-I-L-L. I'm not pronouncing it.
And his stone is easy to find, so I
No.
can put it.
Yeah, I think it's one of the ones we dug up.
It's in that flat, they'll look for it. Sally is right there, you can see hers, it
Is
says
it
wife
beside
out.
Sally?
I'm gonna assume so.
You mean you didn't find Nathaniel Stone?
I seem to remember when we dug, I think that probably it is
It's in there
Nathaniel,
somewhere.
it was just, that was too long to spell out, so I think they put Nathan with the
Yes, there was a couple in there, like I said, it depends which one you go by. And I ended up going to Shapley to find this out because our illustrious town leaders here wouldn't help me.
War of 1812.
Yeah, but he
Okay.
had some type of ranking at that point, because she married him with that rank. And I have it on
Okay.
file, but I just wanted to let you know, because I was getting argued with that there weren't one there, and I said, there's at least one, with a possibility of two, because we keep throwing that Benjamin.
Benjamin,
Maryland,
No, it was Benjamin, yes, Benjamin Merrill. That's a different, no, Benjamin Brackett.
it's Benjamin Gray.
That was Benjamin Brackett we keep throwing around, there's two of them.
So
One's a
we
son
have-
and one's a
well,
daughter.
but that's in the brackets, I'm
No, there's another one down here too. That's why I said, I gotta look back at the Brackett homework book.
Well, you gotta figure out where he's buried.
His stone, you can see his stone. His stone is visible. His
Yeah.
Sally.
Yeah, but do you know it's the right Benjamin Brackett
I
that
think
gives the
Doyle
flag?
is married in both places. I think it's got to be.
Well, you know, my Uncle Zeke's got a marker down in Milton Mills Cemetery, but his ashes are floating in the Pacific Ocean, so, you know.
But also we get back to that celebration of them. We were also told even by Shapley, he does the same thing. He might not be exactly to find what he has to find, but the celebration still counts on recognizing this person. Whether it's at your own home in your backyard saying, I recognize X, Y, Z, or if it's at the cemetery.
So do you want me to put a flag on Benjamin Brackett's?
Is it Benjamin Brackett?
I always go with,
We don't have to be there, we can stick it in.
well, I always go with,
I'm pretty sure that's right.
I always go with the air towards the flag, because I'd rather they had a flag and didn't deserve it than not have a flag and deserve it. Okay, so I will put a flag.
So there's at least two.
That's in the cemetery across from you.
Yeah, down across the street. Because I did
What are we
some
naming
research.
that cemetery?
It's cemetery across from me.
It was called.
It was called-
The bracket
It was
house.
called the Brackett Merrill Cemetery, I believe. It was
Okay.
I don't have any of that stuff here.
I believe that's what it was called, even in the book. It was called the Brackett, or Merrill Brackett, depends upon who was there first, I guess.
Okay.
Because that Brackett is some relation to Asa Brackett, who's buried over at Maple Grove.
Okay, so now I have the other question. Shall I put a second flag in the Gilman Cemetery for Zebulon? For
You
the
just,
for
you
the
just got
Zebulon,
saying, it's the same thing.
so,
We don't know what stone it's on.
well, I understand that, but I can put
You
it,
got
I can
that
put it
one
up
next to
with, I can put it up with the line of stones that are stones, that are just rocks sticking out. You
Because
know,
we have
we know they're
some
gravestones,
stones
it's
that
just
are
that
there.
they're not.
We're just not sure who's whose at this point. And he did do what he had to do.
Well, he's got James, but he hasn't got to that.
Well, he has him listed with the sons of, he just doesn't know exactly where he's buried yet.
Right.
Yeah, that's conflicting too. I would honor him until we know differently, does that make sense?
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a son that is buried up in Alton, and that definitely is a
Yeah,
son.
that's-
And there's other lines of Zebulons that are up in Gilmington, you know, and they are tied in, but they don't seem to be this line. And it really makes sense, we know he died in Acton.
I have the perfect job for you, Wesley.
Uh-oh.
You need to take over Fitz Rutherby's job.
Who?
Oh, you think so, huh?
I think you could do that job with justice.
Now, who is that, may I ask?
He's the one that does, it's not New Hampshire Crossroads, is it? It's,
Just kind of
he
shave my head.
he was talking about the horse, the cemetery.
Oh, he was?
Yeah, that was one of his shows. No, sorry.
That's like so many things, you know, I have an ancestor that owed money to him when he died, not to the horse, but to the guy.
You sure? You move it there.
Okay.
You know what's going on?
Oh my God, it's just the way it's coming out, this is
He
not
loved,
good.
he loved his charger, he was a colonel in those Civil War,
Okay.
and he wanted to be buried with his horse, and they wouldn't let it be buried in the cemetery, but the cemetery.
Oh, okay,
So now
yeah,
the cemetery's outside the horse,
yep,
the horse is right in the middle of it.
yep, now that you said that, yep, yep.
Yeah, so that, well, that was pretty much,
It's a savage story, but it means savage.
so that covers the Gilman Cemetery. I need to go up and mark, and I may end up having to go up and just spray paint a spot on the trees that need to go, because I can't find my tape. And, but once the trees are done, then we can move forward from
Yeah,
there.
we just, you know, it's just that we need to get, obviously, we need to start spending some money.
Yeah,
It's a fun thing, we just gonna move things quickly.
Well, the biggest thing is to, I guess, ranking, which one should be done first, and, you know.
Now, did anybody get little notification from the select people whether or not we want to stay on the board?
I wouldn't get it because they just appointed me last year, it's between you guys, whoever. was-
I didn't get one this year.
I got one, but I should have, because of,
Well, you have to answer it, you have to say yes or no,
I know, but not up.
maybe.
well, you still need to say yes or no.
You
if
need
they
to
said
say
you
yes or
want.
no.
I haven't looked in the box lately, but I didn't get one.
And somebody's trouble, yeah, there's somebody.
I didn't
And the
get
other
one.
one that might want to, when you talk to Frank, ask Frank if he got one too, because I know they are going out, but I don't know when Frank's is up either. I would say
All right.
Frank was
All
up.
right, so it's just due process, I'll listen to it. But,
Well, they're having a lot of problems with filling the boards, and they want to make sure that people want to be where they're at, instead of saying yes and then stay them for
Well,
months, a year, or years and on end, like some. Like
can we move on to new business?
We can.
Absolutely.
The flag placing, as I said, I'm gonna do it during the week. I'm waiting for the flag man to call me to tell me he's got the flags. I ordered a gross of flags, which is 144 flags, and I ordered 6 more markers. And
How
I
many?
ordered the generic markers because they always complain.
How many flags did you make? Gross? Just one gross?
Yeah, just one gross.
I don't know how many you or not.
So you can call me out and I'll go with you.
Okay.
I was gonna say, I'd like to go if you want me to. Just.
We can go, but if I go, I'm just going to do the flags. I told that to Wesley already. When I go, I'm just putting out flags, I'm not messing around.
I just assumed,
Information or any of that.
I agree with you.
Because I might at the Merrill Cemetery, just to get the information off the 2 stones that are I'm putting
Yeah,
flags up for.
that's close enough to home that,
Yeah, but it's just because I am the transportation for a young lady to and from work every day. So I have to be home for my kids, so there's, you know. Ripped in 10 directions.
if it helps you at all here, you can always let me have the list, and I can always make the road for you.
I understand that, but I know, and I do understand that. But there's still a bunch of stones down there that I still don't know whether I've got putting flag on the right place or not.
Well,
We do have some other people being buried down at the cemetery, and I don't know if they're veterans or not. We've had a couple of burials, and I haven't.
one was,
been able
one
to-
was Alice Bunker, and the other one was a gentleman from the Loop Road.
Yeah, but I don't know
I
if
don't
he's a
know.
veteran or not. I
Don't
don't believe Alice
think
was.
so.
So, other than that, I don't know. We had somebody ask about buying a grave at Debbie's memorial service, and Roby told her that she would give her the contact information.
If she doesn't have that, that's Roy, just to let you know.
Roby knows.
I know, just to let you know.
Roby knows.
You got it. Keep on moving.
Yeah, go for it.
Town meeting, I don't know if you wanted to get involved with doing any sort of display or anything. Okay.
I'm not up to doing a display, but if anybody else on the committee wants to do a display, they can do a display.
You said that was
You
June
can
9th?
even set up, as far, I don't know. I'm just
No, they said
going
it was
by,
the
it's the
first
second
meeting.
Saturday of the month, because the second is the first Saturday, so I'm just assuming it's that day. I shouldn't, but, I'm not gonna be up to putting up a display, so somebody else is gonna have to do that. If they can gladly set up on the end of our 4-H if they want to. But usually there's a bunch of people set up on the other side too, so I don't know if you need to get Jennifer Rue's permission for that.
No, for town manager. Last time I did what I had to tell, I had to actually, is it at the school? I actually had to contact Andy if he's at the school and tell him I would like it done. And
Yeah,
that's how I got the last display we had, that I
Yeah.
did. I contacted Andy, I asked him if I could use the table, and he asked me where I wanted it, and I told him where it was. So. I-
well, the,
Rules
Yeah,
change.
If we get the posters done, and that'd be enough.
last year I couldn't vote from behind the table at the, for
Except
4-H.
rules change.
Okay, last year I couldn't, well, actually, I think it was 2 years ago that it started. We could not vote, even with our little cards that we have to hold up. We could not be standing behind the food table with the 4-H kids to vote. So we're in the gym, but we can't vote if we're behind the table. We had to be actually out there where the chairs were.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying you probably need to go to Jennifer Rue first, and then contact, just because,
Well, I'm not really gung ho about it. I really would like the committee to get solidly back on conservation, and so we do, other than this poster contest, you know, I don't know if we're putting a lot of thought.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be
I think putting the posters up is,
Yeah.
Yeah, they said that might be enough.
right.
You know, if we do that, that might be enough. But I still would like, maybe toward fall, change our focus, really, and look at natural resources and go right at it with everything we got. You know, if we
You know,
could-
that might be an idea, do the cemetery in the spring like we're doing right now, and then by fall or midsummer, change that right after we're done flags and stuff,
Right.
right after the
The
summer's
beauty,
done.
the beauty about cemetery stuff is the best time to do it is early spring.
Right.
Or is before this, you know, to get out and to try to find this stuff. All late fall, you know, to make a trip after the.
Cemeteries seem to show up best in November.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
so
do.
if we want to make a if we want to dedicate a workshop in November for that, that would be fine. But, the primary focus of this committee is resource
Conservation
protection.
and resources.
And we've got a lot, we just haven't worked together as a committee on it to the degree that we need to.
There's some people that, there's an organization that works with farmers that sets up, helps them get the grants for for that late haying thing, to
Yeah.
save nesting grounds for birds.
Yeah, it's
and
been one of my
habitat.
projects, you know, one of my bees,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's I mean, I don't know whether or not it's a done deal with the Pearsons to be haying over on the Hobbs thing.
Yeah,
And it's kind of out of our hands in a way, but that's a piece of land that,
I've referenced it 2 or 3 times, you know, this board can always put a statement of policy if it wants to that says we really would like to see conservation
there's a young fellow who lives,
promote late season habitat for birds.
there's
And I
a,
really, you know, I feel bad about it because,
there's a
you know,
young fellow
we don't seem to do it.
who lives right down on Fountains Hill. He bought the Ellen Sharp's house. And he does all horse, he hires himself out to do horse-drawn logging. And he wants to do horse-drawn haying.
You know, I
And
would-
that's the type of thing that would be great
I-
over there at the Hobbs'
I
farm.
went to a public meeting, I won't say what it was, just a little while ago, and they ridiculed the horse drawn.
Well,
They literally ridiculed.
I went
Who
to
would
the
be doing it this
beekeepers
way?
meeting last
You know,
night.
You know, and I got offended by that, you know.
Yeah.
I used to use a small tractor, and I got good sized logs out of it, you know, and I couldn't see where they were, you know, one log at a time. So, yeah, maybe not economical harvesting, but at least it's harvesting that's ecologically sound. You know,
It's how they feel, they wanna do.
Well, landowners that are hiring this guy to do it aren't concerned about making this huge profit. They're concerned about selective cut and innovative,
I did go to a public meeting.
Soil erosion.
forestry at the part of the branch farm a week ago. And that was halfway progressive. You know, they still promoted forestry as forestry, which is the idea of have woodlots to get wood out of it. But at the same time, they were willing to start to look at issues like keeping nutrients in the soil and what kind of, what's the impact of too much chipping and
So I went,
what's the impact of too much overcutting and letting it just, you know, it's just like this is the kind of stuff the committee should be talking about, like,
well, I went to the beekeepers meeting last night. They had the state, they had a man from the state there doing a talk, and he was from the Board of Pesticide Application. And he is it's a 7-board member, it's a 7-person board, and he gave a talk about the pesticide application, notification, distances. He did a lot of slamming on certain, you know, he interjected his own politics into it a little bit, but anyways, the whole gist of it is that a commercial farm doesn't have to, only has to notify if they're within 1,000 feet of your property. If you're an apiary, your bees travel 4 to 6 miles, between 4 to 6 miles. So the farm, the big commercial farm that's down the road 2 miles can kill your bees, and you don't even get notified when they're spraying. And so that was one of the things. The other thing it was very interesting because they're going to make it mandatory that all farmers, all small farms that sell more than $1,000 worth of produce have to be certified in pesticide application.
Even if you don't use any?
Well, that's what I went up and asked him. And he goes, well, if you're not using any, you're not growing anything. And I didn't do what I did with Larissa Crockett. I bit my tongue because I didn't know this person, and I did bite my tongue because I asked him if I would have to go and get certified if I did not use anything. And in his talk, he said, even the organic farmers that are using organic pesticide usage are introducing toxins that are killing the pollinators.
Well,
And all I could think of was, and he kept touting the EPA, and I told the friend that I go to these things with, I told her, I said, the EPA's job is not to stop anything bad that is coming into your town or your community. The EPA's job is to regulate it to within a certain percentage rate so that it can go through and be done and used. I said, that's their job. And I said, of course he's going to stand behind the EPA, but it was he got a lot of beekeepers really mad. There was a lot of beekeepers in that room, and there was a lot of them that were very, very excited and mad because a lot of the things that they teach in the classes, he was saying was completely wrong. He was saying that the nematodes that are coming, that they're allowing back into the state to be used, aren't as harmful as some of the other products. And there was a lot of conversation. I don't know all the terms yet because I'm new at that, but it was a very interesting talk about pesticides.
Well, the beauty of taking a course like that, Hannah, is you realize just how interdependent things are.
Yeah.
I pruned somebody's heirloom orchard for years, and he put it in for his mother, and this was not a young man. And I pruned it for years, you know, and he had a lot of old varieties. And one spring, there's a couple of months and I'm pregnant, and I want you to stop your spray. And you will stop your spraying. And he did. He buckled under and he stopped his spraying. Right or wrong, you know, and it hurt. You know, it hurt him to have to just give up on the orchard that he'd been tending for 50 years.
Yeah.
Because somebody had a fair. And I don't know what the answer to that is. There is no, I have no doubt that Apple orchards put things in the soil that stated, you know. But, and I'm just as sure that some of the things we're doing today are as bad as some of the things they did back then. We just don't know it yet. This forestry meeting that I went to, you know, they talk and talk and talk, and I said, why don't you leave some of the stuff to grow to old growth so you can see whether or not the processes you're using and everything that you're towing today is as good as you think it is. You know, because you really don't know. If you say, this is a, you know, I'm going to give you a diet, and you're going to take it forever, and if you drop dead, then I'll watch them better than that. You know, she shouldn't have trusted me.
Yeah.
I mean, if I don't know, you know, that's why, you know, you always have to have the best available technology and the most current understanding. They go hand in hand, and, you know. And I know a lot of us hate that best methodology stuff, and rightfully so, because.
Kills a lot of people.
Yeah.
I just,
It's killed.
I don't, you know, I don't use any pesticides, and,
Yeah, we don't use anything.
But you don't want, you know, what, you know, I used to go for little potatoes. Can you do that without pesticides? Be an interesting study if you could completely put a 4-acre plot without pesticides.
Yeah.
Now, there are people that would say that you can't grow corn without some sort of something to cut down the earwig, you know, but I never had problems with corn worm, you know, because if I thought it had a borer, it went into the pig. You didn't sell it, you just culled it out.
yeah.
And
You could usually
do the
tell.
same thing with apples, but the stuff, you know, but the stuff that's in the apple, that's been transferred in.
Well,
And
society's got
that's
so
true
used to
with
that
apple.
perfect apple that's this big
Oh, absolutely.
too. They've gotten so used to that they don't want that smaller apple that might have a little bit of imperfection on it.
The thing is, we can discuss this for a couple of minutes. I used to grow a field-run potato, and people would say, well, I want all the big ones, or I want all these.
Yeah.
No, you take them as they come, because it's the only thing that's the only way I can be
Yeah.
just in my application here. And there's a lot of reasons for it. And I can't guarantee there won't be one that's got the
Mafta lady.
fall through it, you know, but
The Mafta lady wants to know why I graded my eggs. Why do you take the time to grade your eggs? And I said, well, because I don't go to farmers markets.
Right.
And she said, yeah, but you grade your eggs, it's a waste of time. She said, you should set a higher price and just sell them straight. And I said, you don't get it. I said, my customers come and they open up they look in the eggs when they take them. I'm not here sometimes when they come and buy my eggs. And they open up those eggs, and I come back and I come out to do my next batch of eggs, and I get the boxes out of the refrigerator, and guess what? I've got all small eggs in one box, and they've taken all the big eggs out.
you know, people will do that. You know.
And it's like, so it doesn't matter if I don't grade them. They're not going to take the small eggs if they don't have to. And it's like if I'm at a farmer's market, yeah, it's take what you,
No,
I'm right there, and I could say, take what's in the box.
I was talking
But-
to the Secretary of New Hampshire's Agricultural Department, you know, markets and fruits, and I've hit her up on this on 2 or 3 times. I said, you don't really have a growing problem. There's a lot of people that want to get into farming, but yeah, there's a marketing problem. And one is the perception of what food is, and the other is how we, what we think we should be getting for it. Because I don't think all these farmers markets are necessarily real good for agriculture. They might be good for diversity of agriculture, but that might not last. You know, it's difficult to make a dollar farming. You have to love it. It's difficult to make a dollar orcharding. You have to love it. It's difficult to raise beef, but you have to love it. But like somebody said to me the other day, I'm not going to tell my husband that I paid $6.50 a pound for the turkey that he had for Thanksgiving last year. You know, I find it ludicrous because I do buy turkey for $1 a pound. And I do a lot of it. But when it's up to around $7, I gag on it. I would gag on it. I mean, at what point is it gonna do me any good? And, but that's organic.
No, she's probably bought an heirloom turkey that took 2 years to grow.
That's an heirloom organic turkey.
And you could, no doubt you are right, Bill.
I mean, because I buy them sometimes, and I get ones from Vermont for $3.50 a pound, so I mean, I can't imagine someone's getting like $7.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
On the other point, on the other end, you got the large whites and the large bronzes. And if you get them in the early spring to harvest for Thanksgiving, you're dressing out birds that way that won't even fit in a person's oven. It's ridiculous. People don't even have.
I used to raise the bronze.
I get a 24-pound turkey and I have turkey for
I
weeks
used to raise the
afterwards.
bronze ones for the feathers. Now I gotta explain that people like to fly time. And they didn't care what they paid for the bird, they wanted the feathers to make the ties. And the guy actually taught courses at UNH. So, but he had a catering business, so he did use the bird. He did use the bird, but it took a big oven to cook it. I said, you recognize you're going to be dressing out a 35 to 40 pound turkey without the feathers,
I know, I'm in Missouri and I hear my mother's got a turkey from your farm. Brucey German comes bringing it over to her, dressed out 44 pounds. They had to cut it in half to get it in the oven. And I'm like, well, did you get a picture? I want to see it. And she's like, oh, I forgot to take a picture of it. And I'm like, I send you pictures of catfish that are as big as a man, and you can't send me a picture of a turkey.
You talk about action agriculture, and I'll leave it with this one. Years ago, we used to, like Lester Hobbs, used to grow a multiplicity of things. And sometimes old timers like to rhyme, like to get on the young men's scalps. And he said, I don't think you got a boiled dinner up there, Henry. I'm dying for a boiled dinner. Can I have a boiled dinner? And I said, Charlie, I got to go home, and I'm going to be back here, so I'll bring you your boiled dinner. So I got a bushel basket, and I had one carrot, one turnip, one beef. One potato, one cabbage, and it filled the basket, 8 items, and there was a bushel basket, and I put it down where he was sitting and said, there's your boiled dinner. But, it was a 3-pound potato,
All inside, was it?
No.
Was it? Wow,
No.
got lucky.
No, Green Mountains very seldom get hauled. King Bedford, the Katahdin's one, but the Green Mountains would seldom get, because they're a college, But those are the old stories that give richness to Akron, and it's too bad that there's not more. It's too bad to get into discussions like you do with Lincoln School.
I'm sorry, that was my fault.
No, it really is, it's just too bad. If the board really should address, if there's any way they want to answer it. I think we answered it. I think it's a cart getting behind the horse here, in front of the horse here, because I don't know where Kenny was walking towards, but the conversation we had with him was, the two of us was talking, and it's like, why wouldn't the town put money into this building, or at least, there's no wiring there, you're not gonna, you're gonna put 2 lights in there, you're not gonna, what are you gonna put in there? You're not gonna bring it up to an outlet like a kitchen table, you're not gonna be cooking anything in there, you're not gonna have an outlet every 5 feet on the wall, You're gonna put it back in the schoolroom with 2 lights in the ceiling, the average that was
Well,
in
there has to be a
that.
heating system. There has to be a heating system, so you're gonna need more than the one outlet that's there.
I don't know what there needs to be in that building for heating system.
Well,
I really don't.
Maybe you need to go back and ask Kenny what we need to do.
No, if you're gonna keep it as,
Maybe that's understood too, because
if
apparently.
you're gonna keep it a semi-school museum kind of a
Because he should have the
thing.
paperwork on
You're
it.
not- you're not
Able to tell us as a
proposing.
board and ship it to us and say, hey, this is what's
Right.
wrong, this is what we've got. He didn't even have that information, because he's looking at you guys going, what are you talking about? Right? That's my understanding. When you guys went to Kenny, he was looking at you two like
It was
you
Kenny
guys
that came
had.
to them.
Yeah, came to the,
Kenny came to them
Right.
because Kenny was, somebody in the selectman's office said, we have insurance issues, you need to go over and inspect the schoolhouse.
right.
That's what happened.
And they called me up and I said, and they started telling me all this stuff about the foundation, and I said, what stuff about the foundation? We just spent $8 or $14,000 on it. I mean, it's like, what is this? Something must have happened in the meantime if they don't like the foundation. I mean, we're one of the best restoration people in the state do it.
Right.
I mean, it's like, that what really started setting me, you know, off, wondering what this was, but I think
No,
the insurance
it's-
company just wanted to dump it.
Because I thought, by the way it sounded, you guys went to him, or after you found out, and he was like, didn't know.
He was the one that notified them.
Then why didn't he come with a list when you guys were, when he was coming
We
down to
had the
see
list,
you?
we had the list from the insurance company, and we all walked around and looked at this stuff, and like I said to Larissa, half the stuff wasn't wrong. It was perfectly okay.
The paint was peeling
Yeah.
on the bathroom, so it had been. Well, they just painted it, but they used the stupid spray paint.
The point
They
is.
take the paint off with the pressure washer, and then they spray paint it immediately afterwards. They don't even let the wood dry for
It's
God's
just
sake.
like what they did up here, they did the same fracking thing.
So
They
the
did
paint
the
didn't
same
even last
time.
a year. Weston said, okay, shut up, you two.
But they did, they painted at the same
No,
time.
I'm just saying that when we haven't heard the last of Lincoln's Gold, and Kenny is probably right in ballparking the cost to bring it up to somebody's standards. No.
But we don't even know what standards it needs to
No, I
be
know,
brought up to.
I know, but.
You're talking historical, you're talking
I'm
today.
offended by the existing status of that ceiling, and there's no doubt that the chimney needs to be topped. The brickwork needs to be pointed up, if nothing else.
Well, the steel liner still needs to be put in.
But here's the part that you really love, is that we can't go and do it because the town has no insurance at this point. If we wanted to volunteer to do it and just go and fix the ceiling or all that kind of crap, we can't do it.
Again, that the issue is between the insurance company and the selectmen.
Yeah, it's not.
You know, if I choose to have my home insurance and my car insurance and my business insurance all under one umbrella, that's one thing. If I have a very special automobile like you, I might want to put that under some sort of other policy, you know, and it might behoove me to do so. It might not. And,
They
you
have-
know, and that's not for this board to determine.
They have antique car insurance, I'm sure they
Oh,
have
sure.
historical building
But-
insurance somewhere, or a rider that
But
attaches to.
insurance is based
Other
upon,
rider.
insurance is based upon assigned risk. And the point that Kenny understood, and we got into, was that the building, if it's used, will have less of a risk than if it sits there idle. Likewise, if whatever you have for an insurance company decides that it needs to be remodeled in terms of its wiring, they're happy with it, we might not be. You know, they think it's better.
What, the other thing that ticks me off is that, okay, the lady down there at the Historical Society, she came up, she looked at the school, and she said, you do know that there are special things about one-room schoolhouses. And I said, well, can you get me that information? And I can't get nothing from nobody. Richard Neal doesn't even seem to know anything about it, and he goes to the meetings down there all the time. And I said, well, she was the one that mentioned it to me. There's some kind of exemptions or something.
Okay, maybe there is.
And I'm not saying it concerns insurance, but it has to do with something about keeping them historical, because there's so few of them left in the state.
Does Shapley own that school, or does the Historical Society? Do we know this one? I don't know that one. I assume they still.
I don't know. I don't know who
I don't
owns
know,
that.
yeah, I don't either, you know, but that's, you know, that might be a similar situation.
But I don't know if there's any other one-room schoolhouses in Chaplin still standing, is there? See, I don't know.
There used to be the red one up by North Shepherd, but I don't know, you know, that was a fairly well known.
Not to change subject, I know there's a sidewalk either coming up or it's gone by. I saw it posted.
Yeah.
Was that the?
Oh, I just stick that.
Grady's Lane?
Yes,
Oh, I went to them.
so it's gone by.
Well, I didn't even understand the posting.
What was it?
What were they blocking the site for? Because the way it was posted, it didn't make any sense to me.
Okay, what it is that, person's got a grandfathered cottage there, which is in not good shape. And while the people that bought it want to replace it. The question, the ostensible purpose for the sidewalk was whether the existing building was already in the best possible place on the lot, or whether it would be someplace else on the lot would be better. But then we get out there, and this thing is so steep that they must have brought the wood in for the original building off the water. But they want to cut some trees and stuff so they can bring building supplies down, and somebody's gonna like dig a foundation, because this one doesn't have a foundation on the
Because
wall.
it's a camp.
Because it's a camp, but they're gonna try and dig this thing from like the top with a big,
Excavator.
yeah, I mean, you know, yeah. And we're just like looking at it and thinking, and there's no place to put a septic tank. They're gonna have to put the septic tank up and pump the stuff up the hill.
It's really steep, I know what road. I
Yeah.
did census out there one year.
This is, it's across the street from where the Nunes are building a new camp, and just up the hill from their boathouse or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, Jolie said, can we say that they can't put anything here? I mean, it's just,
Yeah, I mean, that's what the whole thing is about. It's a camp, you can replace the camp, but guess what? You can't put in a septic system, you're not gonna be able to make it a year-round facility. We're sorry, it's a camp.
I mean, the thing is that it's so steep in the bank, it's gonna come, if they like dig a 4-foot deep trench in order to put it in the septic system, then, you know, and it rains like it's been doing some of the rain, and then the whole hillside is gonna go down.
And the camp will be sitting in the water, right?
But I don't know what the status is, other than just, you know, they haven't had a meeting, so I haven't heard from Gavin, but I did go out and take a look at that, and it's an eye-opener.
We built where we shouldn't, and then we wonder why we end up in the drain.
There's a lot of them out there,
Mhm.
and a lot of them were put on before we had any idea, but,
Well, I think that the problem is that I think Gavin suggested that they just put, that they don't have a septic system, they put a compost in front of them. Or something like that. I mean, there's no septic system, so the septic system's not grandfathered, you know?
even then, you know, I don't know how much more we can keep maxing out these lakes. You know.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it just is, we have to sit back and look at it, and that is, again, one of the issues that we need to look at, you know, just how much is there. I mean, I haven't been overly happy with some of the built-up analysis that Forest Development Company have been showing, you know, it's like you can't stop where everything's gonna go. I'm sorry, you know,
Yeah, well, they're not paying a lot of attention, because whenever time they
if you
do,
start seeing three tiers of camps around all these ponds.
every time they
the
do one of
value
those
ponds
build-out
are
analysis
down.
or whatever, I suddenly have like dozens of houses on my property.
So you want me to call you, right, Lois?
Yes,
Do you have a working phone number?
same one Dwayne used to call me last time when there was a problem.
Okay. I hope I have it. Do you want me to call you, Wesley? Just
Well, why
to-
don't you just hand it over? and she'll find out.
I'm definitely out of here next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, as much as I hate to be, I am. And
Okay.
It looks like my days in.
If you want, hand me the paper and I'll give you.
Commandeer from then on, including Saturdays, which makes it very difficult. You know, I work Sundays.
Okay.
I can't get out, I can't get out.
Don't break the table, let me pay you
I'm not gonna get out and play the church organ on Sunday, so that keeps going. And,
Big old fancy, heavy old friggin'
Yeah, if I'm available,
Table, if
I'll
it falls,
go.
it'll break somebody's leg. I wonder if they're insured to cover that.
If I'm available, I
Is there,
will go. If not,
is there
I'll just
election
let you know.
officers next month?
Huh?
Is there election officers next month?
It's next month, no, July.
It'll be in July.
First week in July. We can have that.
Either way. Either way, I'm fine.
Okay.
I talk too much, you take too much anyway, so. I-
Well, that's.
All right,
why I did
July.
it on my own.
Selection of officers.
Here, we wait until after the.
If it falls, it's gonna break something. If it lands on
Well,
April.
my legs are up for
Your baby is heavy.
So it's history.
I'm telling you right now, talk about liabilities, huh?
Yeah, somebody just, people.
I'm sorry, but I'm not gonna sit over there
Is the
anymore.
meeting over?
You guys,
I am
make
already.
the motion.
Make a motion to call the meeting to an end.
Second.
Okay.
Second.